Do. In order for us to grow, we have been taught that we got to take the action, 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 we got to take the action. But we were never taught that outside of that very action is how we embrace the very metamorphosis of ourselves in that growth. As we get it set up, as always, Grand Rising, Great Awakening, Grand Rising, Great Awakening, Divine Day and Blessed be. May the day be everything you require to create everything that you desire. Remember that when we listen, when we're thinking, we are in a state of listening. So what are you listening to? Right now you are listening to... Oh shit, no, go over from that. Don't do that. As I'm pressing all these buttons, getting everything loaded up before we get ourselves a little meditation and elevation. This is a little bit of training for understanding how to stay in that meditative state. You gotta first build the space for it. Kind of like Happy Gilmore in the Happy Place. But today we are getting into the aspects of the standstill. Sometimes we view our actual being in a standstill. We can't make any moves. We can't do anything. We can't move anywhere. We can't do anything. We think of a standstill as being the end. We think of standstills as being the end. I remember for a long time in my life, I used to remember looking at standstills when I felt I couldn't do anything. And I had to learn that those are the best times to think and understand and see exactly where I'm at in life. Gate talk. Look at this beautiful card. Got the real trippy. But the standstill card of the day. The quality of restraint and the importance of meditation and inaction in confronting temptation. Standstill. The quality of restraint and the importance of meditation and the inaction in confronting temptation. The power of cultural mutation is the mystery of within the mystery of standstill. Cultural mutation, or the shift of the change, let the occult aspect, let your occult mind, let your shadow self, let it come into that space and let that muscle, make that muscle stronger. Cultural, the aspect of the culture, we understand the hidden culture, we understand that's the subconscious mind. So the mutation or the adaptation or the change of the subconscious mind is going to be based in being able to sit yourself still for 15, 20 minutes out your day. Give yourself what you deserve. In order to get what you deserve, you must first give yourself what you deserve. Last night, for example, I got the candle that I lit yesterday, and I took this candle, I turned the lights off in the shower, I turned the lights off in the bathroom, and I took a shower by candlelight, real intimate meditation with myself. Give yourself what you deserve by defining it within yourself. Removing that, remember, we've been talking about removing those vices, not allowing those old anchors, allowing ourselves to break free of these anchors and ground ourselves into our own balance. So when you think about that standstill, it's in the aspect of embracing the change or the metamorphosis that is happening within your life. It is embracing this metamorphosis or change that's happening in your life. So, use for an example, you're looking at right now this grand metamorphosis that happened the other day, and everybody wants to be like, but man, it's. I put up a post that said 4 more years of escapism. Because regardless of what happens outside of my space, everything in my space is on, everything within me is right on time. It's right exactly where it needs to be. I'm not dependent when we're going into this aspect of you understanding that standing still, being in that balance with yourself, not allowing the outside to trigger you so you can learn instead of triggering you so you stay further distracted. That's going to be that key in you shifting from the pragmatic view of the world. Being pragmatic is the aspect of you having a lack of foresight, for you're only using things that are practical, only benefits for the short term. A lot of times we come into our spaces and we only build things based on the short term, the instantaneous. If I do not get the necessary result, then I kick the whole thing out. Not taking ourselves into the space and let me understand why this came up in the first place. Why it came up in the first place. What is it here to teach me? What can I learn from it? What can I take from it? Even though I'm not using it for that pragmatic result or that myopic approach to where I'm only looking at it from this basic function. It functioned as this. I don't need it anymore. I need to put something else in there. Remember, full mind, empty house. Empty mind, full house. Remember, one more time. I'm going to say it one more time. Full mind, empty house, full mind. I like to keep my mind full, but first, in order for your mind to become full of what it is for you to expand in your abundance, in your prosperity, in you moving forward, in your growth, you must first question everything that's already on that cutting room floor. Everything that's within that culture, everything that's within that hidden culture that is your subconscious. None of that is you. All of that is old aspects based on the trauma and the shadow self. I made a couple posts yesterday. One of the posts that I made yesterday, I'm about to look at right now. One of the posts that I put up yesterday was loving your enemy. Loving your enemy is about embracing your shadow self. Lose the emotion. Tomorrow, Friday night, we getting into Ultra Instinct. We're going to start looking at these aspects on the high, taking ourselves to the higher level. You know how we do, gotta go Alchemist. But loving yourself, loving thy enemy is embracing your shadow self. A lot of the things that we've taken, we don't take our chance in the chance of standstill to allow the mutation to stay forward. I'm noticing that even for myself in the information that I'm taking in now, in the healing process and in my purpose, I noticed that I'm going back to a lot of things that I didn't question before. I'm taking it in a different light because I'm doing that internal work that's allowing that inner light for me to grow. That is going to be one of your keys, especially when it comes into the aspects of understanding going forward. Even if I'm going to give you something to think about. If you want to help your people, and that's ultimately by becoming an example of helping yourself, the things that they're stuck on, that you get triggered by, you have to take into understanding for yourself. The things that you are triggered by, that your people are stuck on, friends, family, whatever it may be, that they're stuck on, maybe if it's triggering you and it's giving you that emotional aspect, you want to be combative, you want to be reactive to it, go study it. We always talk about study and research. I always talk about studying all and following none. Go research it. That's why I got that. Yesterday I was sitting there in between sessions, and I was sitting there and I was like, loving thy enemy is about loving your shadow self. Because all that's out there right now is your shadow self. You're looking at the density of the carbon-12 right now, that mindset, getting into that metaphysical concept. That's the aspect of that's your shadow self. There's no more veil for you to hide behind. If you got a ball in your hand and you throw it at a window, there's no hiding that you threw the ball because now everybody sees you. That's the exposure. When we're thinking about, everybody getting exposed, and you feel like you need to react to everybody getting exposed, The reason that you're reacting to it is because you're being exposed. You have your shadows now being exposed. Now that you're in this space for yourself, now it's time for you to actually sit there and be like, I need to take a new approach on my life. I say I want this. This is something, when we think about the simple things on the lower aspect, not lower being bad, but this lower in the lower aspect. When you think about you wanting something in your lower aspect, you want that job, you want whatever it is, you know what all these back to shadow work. You have to build the space for it. You've literally you can't say everything's within and then not use that. When we think about everything's within, as above, so below, as within, as without, we have to stop taking it based on that pragmatic approach. That means we're only using it for when it benefits us. That's what has you stuck where you're at now. That's what has a lot of us stuck where we're at now, because we're still taking the pragmatic approach of only applying it to certain aspects. I use a as above, so below, as within, as without. Every time that I get a chance, I challenge myself to use it in every moment. Every time I think about everything's a reflection for me to for me to experience and or observe, I try to use that in every moment, every possible moment of my life, and challenge myself to use this new information, to use my new knowledge, to challenge my cognitive biases, to allow my triggers to be challenged. Because one thing that has happened that you will notice is it's not the challenges of the external. When the challenges of the external seem large and out of place and you can't deal with it, it's only showing us that we are not used to challenging ourselves. We're not used to challenging ourselves. We're not used to giving ourselves this approach to be able to use our caution. Use that aspect of that caution and using our caution in a higher state. Caution means to slow down and use my awareness. Caution is just that state of awareness. So how do you use your awareness? What are you becoming aware of? If you keep being aware of this, if you are aware of the same thing over and over and over again, that means you keep repeating stuff. You're just repeating it. That means, damn, because I've gotten so used to seeing that my entire life that now anything outside of that I really don't understand. That's okay. It's okay not to understand it. That's going to be your challenge. Now that you have that, how are you going to start your next day? Remember, there's only one day ever. Whether it's Monday or the moon day, how are you investing in the change? Tuesday is the aspects of, in today, how am I going to take these investments into my changes and take them going forward? Whether it's Wednesday or the day of wind, how am I going to understand the night before, the stuff that's in the dark before, my shadows, my shadow work, my internal work, and use it to move into Thursday. Thursday being the day of 10. 10 is the most malleable metal. How am I going to shape myself how am I going to break the mold? How am I going to shape the mold that I'm going to walk into on my Friday, my day of Venus, that day of love? How am I going to shape myself for the love I'm about to come into? What am I going to release? What am I embracing in the release on a Saturday, the Saturn day, that day of release, when I reach that crossroad? What am I releasing on that Saturday? It's always been there for you. Sunday is the day that you're going to rise. How are you applying that mechanic to your life in your standstill? You always have time, because time is the illusion. Once you understand time, remember, once you understand it, you can manipulate it for your own gain. Like after I'm done with this, and before I do sessions and readings for today, got the sessions and the readings I got lined up for today, within between now, when we finish up, there's so much stuff I'm going to get done within the aspects of within an hour. By the time I look at it, I'm like, damn, it's almost 11 o'clock. Because you're quantifying the aspects you understand in time. As long as you're going into that flow, that takes that internal work. Getting into that internal aspect of yourself. That has nothing to do with you. Everything that's going on externally has nothing to do with you anymore. If it don't have you, if it trigger you, see what it means internally. That's your shadow work. Because, as always, that dream relationship that you're dreaming of, go look in the mirror. It's shadow work. That's going to give you that dream relationship, that internal work, that acknowledging those repressed factors. Because that ultimate relationship is you coming into the aspects of marrying yourself. That was another thing that I said. Marry yourself. Unify the masculine and the feminine within you in your healing process. Because now you're going to be able to create that space for the inner child to flourish. That's where the creativity comes from. That's where that childlike innocence comes from. Not using the childlike mind, which is based on the impression, but going into that childlike innocence, which is of the heart. That path of that heart chakra. You got some stuff to release. I can feel it. You got some stuff to take. You got some stuff on your chest. Let it out. That's what I'm here for. Papa Lucifer, GodCodeAlchemistLLC.com. Or you can hit me in the inbox. Shadow work consultation, readings. I'm doing the special. It's $33.33 for the gate opening reading. For the gate opening reading. $44.44 for the inner child reading. Or we can get straight to it. Or we can get deeper into it with the shadow work. The shadow work consultation. And see where you at, and we bring you into that space. If you have not already subscribed to Get Inside, Gotta Code Alchemist is also the YouTube channel. Tomorrow we get into Ultra Instinct. A lot of these aspects of getting into being able to move outside of our emotions, being able to move outside of emotion with our emotions in balance. That's what we're getting into tomorrow night. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week's podcast episode, out now, Buzzword, available on Spotify, iTunes, Breaker, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Pod Addict, wherever podcast is streamed at. Go and tap into that. We got into anchoring the predestination complex and the phantom nemesis. Very deep aspects. And I want you to be fucking great. That job, that relationship that you want, it's going to go through that shadow work. Unify yourself, marry yourself, and everything going to change based on that. That dream job that you're wanting, that dream job is going to give you everything. That dream money, that dream whatever you're wanting, it's all within the aspects of that shadow work. Do that shadow work, release those old energies, define your new energy. The abundance is already within you. The wealth is already within you. The prosperity, the health, all that's already within you. You just have to release the repression so you can now step into that progression. That vehicle that you're wanting to drive you to that dream house, it's all in the aspects of that shadow work. I want you to be the fucking best. Because I desire that for myself. But yeah. Standstill. When in the standstill, what are you learning? That's your key. Been another nice little meditating elevate. I'm going to get ready for my day. If you're interested within readings, consultations, or any of my services, hit me in the inbox. Share this video. That way, if somebody else needs that information, this is that information share. Share the information. Somebody else that it resonates with, let it ride with them. I love you. We love us. Ashe.